We live. What up?
Pop up on them.
Episode 77. Still doing that thing. Episode 77.
Yes, sir.
We live, bro. Everybody that's with us in the chat already, welcome.
What up, everybody? What up?
Yeah, but for anybody who's here, we appreciate that. We appreciate you being an early bird. Everybody that joins, you're gonna try to keep up with the chat and make sure everything go smooth. But let's jump into it, man. We got a lot to talk about today. Not too much. Shouldn't be too long of an episode. But let's talk about the miscellaneous stuff first. Get the little stuff out the way. First off, I haven't had the opportunity to keep up with the NBA and what's going on in the sports world. So I know y'all two kind of on it a little bit more. So has anything interesting been going on in NBA wise? I know it's, right now we should be approaching All-Star and all that. Well, that's like another 2 months away.
Yeah.
So I know during this part of the season, the NBA, like this time of year, ain't too crazy. They don't start going ham really until like February, March.
Surprisingly,
but yeah, what's been going on?
Surprisingly, ain't nothing crazy been going on in the NBA like lately, to be real.
I saw LeBron's shoe flew off the other day.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even watch that game, but
I just saw him talking about it. That's the only thing I seen recently that was like,
Yeah, he was going for the game winner, and his shoe came right off. And I know that sucks, but the last person I seen that happen to was Zion Williamson.
Word.
Back in college.
I don't want to turn this to a sports podcast, but the one thing about them Christmas games, the officiating was horrible.
Oh, who played?
Well, first game was the Sixers and the Knicks, which, I mean, there was a few plays here and there, which was kind of tedious. But the game that got me the most upset out of all of them was probably the Bucks and Celtics game, where I forgot who. Oh yeah, Bobby Portis basically was like trying to obviously protect himself from someone boxing him out to get the ball. And just because he made the motion of going like this, and he barely tapped, homie on the Celtics, they gave him a technical foul. So a lot of tedious calls have been happening in the NBA, and it's making the game, being played even softer, and it's kind of getting boring and annoying. I mean, granted, there have been some players here and there that have been dropping points. Didn't somebody just drop 50 the other day? A few players been dropping 50 lately.
Yeah, I think it was who dropped 50? Who dropped 50? It was somebody kind of random.
A few people did. Yeah, one of them was random, but a few people dropped 50 lately. But the officiating is horrible, which is why you got random players now dropping 50 because you can't even play defense like you used to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
the refereeing in the NBA is for a while has been pretty questionable. You know what I'm saying? So that's not even doesn't even worse.
And the text that been going, I think John Morant was talking to a fan. It was just some friendly banter type stuff, not even something crazy. And John Morant got ejected. So I know the officiating is kind of weird nowadays.
Crazy. So what's the records looking like as far as top teams? I heard the Lakers record is not really that good right now, right?
Yeah, but they had a little bit of a winning run. But you got the standings up, Don?
Nah. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Okay, I was pulling it up now. It's all good. As far as who's in first place right now, is looking like the Celtics in the East, and the Nuggets in the West. But the Nuggets, they've always been a team that play good when they have all their players. They got Jamal Murray back, but we'll have to really see what they're made of once they get to the playoffs. The Blazers, while they're only in 8th place, they still kind of showing out a bit. They playing better than most people thought, because I wouldn't even think that they'd be in top 5 in the West right now. Is Nuggets, Pelicans, Grizzlies, Clippers, Suns, in that order. And then in the East, Celtics, Bucks, Nets, surprisingly, and Cavs.
Wow, interesting.
And then you got the Knicks in 6th place. So it's been a very interesting first half of the season. The Knicks had a nice little winning streak. Jalen Brunson's actually playing better and kind of shutting doubters up, including myself, who didn't think he was going to be all that this year. He's been playing pretty good. RJ Barrett's been stepping up, even though I think I just got an alert that he got hurt tonight. Hoping it's nothing serious. And Julius Randle's been doing his thing. So it's been an interesting season, but it's just starting to get up and up. But it honestly could be better, like I said, because of the horrible officiating.
Facts. Yeah, I'm sure by like March, February, March, we'll be talking about the NBA a lot more on here. All
Sure.
right. So off of sports, we're gonna talk about some other news stuff that's going on. The winter though, before we get too deep in everything, the winter has been. I feel like up in we in New York, obviously. Me and Clay, Don is in Florida.
Yeah.
New York's winter has been. I feel like it's been kind of mild. It hasn't been as crazy as it could be, especially not like central, I guess, New York, but like upstate, definitely a different story. Buffalo itself, I feel like they just got like close,
They
like
got
how
slammed apparently.
yeah,
I
slammed
heard
itself.
they got 50 inches.
That's crazy. Like that's out of control. And also, but in general, I guess this is like climate and all that because I heard like Florida has been really cold too. Like Florida last week was in like 20s and 30s or
Oh
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
It was cold over. It was cold over here. Like Christmas Day, it hit the 30s. Like it probably hit like 28, 29 for real.
Yeah,
So
that's crazy.
like I've been seeing videos all over. You know what I'm saying? Like up there in Buffalo, New York, people dying in their cars, like freezing.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah.
A lot of homeless people out there. They just dying in their tents. They even have a what do you call it, like a no drive ban. Like you can't go out and drive right now. A lot of people don't like that, but
Yeah.
hey, if people just going out there and just dying in the middle of the night, they gonna have
You
to
gotta
do
be
something.
safe.
Yeah, you definitely gotta be safe. So
Gotta be safe.
that's
Yeah, this
crazy.
winter has been something else. I don't know. Like I said, I feel like where we are, like closer to the city, hasn't been as bad as it could be.
So it's not even close to how it is upstate.
Nah, bro, we don't even have snow. We
That's
didn't even on
that's
Christmas
crazy.
over here was like a
Yeah,
little flurry.
even where I'm at, like I'm about an hour and a half from the city technically, and we only really got like rain and sleet, but it was gone by the next day.
Yeah, it was really like nothing.
And
So
strong winds.
Damn.
weird. But yeah, we're gonna keep up. We're gonna see what happens with that with the rest of the winter. I feel like it's not gonna be that bad, but unless
You think that's the worst? That's the worst of it?
it's not the worst. That's a little much. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some kind of snow. Hopefully, nothing crazy. But
I wouldn't be surprised though, because there's this warm front that just can't seem to leave.
yeah,
And not for nothing, like we had a day where I think it was just less than a week ago, where it was 55 degrees during the day, and then it dropped down to 7 degrees at night. Like
yeah, it was crazy.
they trying to kill us.
Listen, I
Yeah,
know
bro.
something crazy is going on with the weather. It was last year around this time, it was literally even later. Like it was probably like around January, February, and
Word.
I walk out the crib. I'm in Florida, bro. Like I walk out the crib, and there's ice on top of the car. Bro. You don't see that in Florida, bro. I was able to collect the ice and make
Yeah,
a little
I remember you
snowball
said,
with it, bro.
Yeah, that's
So
That's-
something crazy going on with the climate, man.
I feel like maybe in the next like 30, 40 years, it might actually snow in Florida,
It might
bro.
be
Like,
snowing like regularly, like in Florida. So
yeah, that's crazy.
That's gonna be wicked.
Yeah, but let's jump into our main conversations for today. First, we're gonna talk about. I guess I don't know that much about this, but I did see a couple like blogs talking about it. So this is about Lil Wayne and Wiz Khalifa. I guess Wiz Khalifa was doing some sort of podcast or interview or something like that, and he was asked, I guess, who he would see himself going up against in a versus, and he said Lil Wayne. To me, I don't think that's an even match. I think he's kind of overstepping himself by saying that. I feel like there's a couple other artists that would be more evenly matched with him. Not saying Wiz Khalifa don't got hits, you know what I'm saying, but I feel like come on, Lil Wayne's gonna be pulling out tracks from
he's
like
on a different level, bro.
05, 06, like that people's gonna be fucking with. So yeah, I don't know. So let me ask y'all first. I'm gonna start with Clay. If this was a thing that was to happen, which no one's saying it is, it's just Wiz Khalifa, wishful thinking. But who do you think would have it? Who do you think? Would you think it would be a close at least, or you think it would be straight up?
I think Wiz will make it very entertaining
Right.
because Wiz got hits. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very, very heavy advocate for Wiz Khalifa, and I love his music even to this day. You know what I'm saying? Apple said he was on my damn near, like, I think he was within my top 3 most streamed artists of the year.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I fuck with Wiz heavy. You not beating Lil Wayne in a verse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Lil Wayne, like
Right. I feel like no funny if Lil Wayne is even given the opportunity to do a versus, I'm calling this now. It's probably gonna be one of the greatest versus moments we've seen since Jada Kiss when he went off on Dipset. I think we gonna see something like that, maybe even 10 times that. You know what I'm saying? Like I know Wayne ain't gonna hold no punches. He's gonna go crazy and have fun with it.
Yeah, it definitely would be. I don't know. I don't see Lil Wayne losing. But what about you, Don? What you think?
Yeah, same here. Like Wiz is dope and all, but I feel like Wiz is like Clay said, he's like an avid Wiz listener. Those are the ones who's gonna know like all the Wiz hits. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I feel like just the avid music listener is gonna be able to know Lil Wayne hits. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So that I feel like
Right.
they on just different levels. You know what I'm saying? Like Lil Wayne would have to be on verses with people like, Drake, with people like Kanye, with people like Jay-Z, with
yeah.
those, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel like Wiz is at that tier, personally. But
Right.
Yeah, I feel like it would have to be someone who at least could go back in their, their catalog and pull out hits from like 04, 05, 06. If they can't do that,
yeah.
and I don't think Wiz's first. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say if it was a hit, but it was that one song that he had, like his first single that kind of blew him up.
Was
It
it
came out back
was it Black and Yellow or there's one before
in
that?
Obama for Black and
You
Yellow.
talking about that Say Yeah single?
Yeah, let's say that's that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, don't get it twisted. He got songs he could pull out the tuck, but like, even if he pulls out his best mixtape song, it's just lyrically you're not competing with Lil Wayne, bro. Respectfully,
I mean,
because like Wayne
shit from
Wiz
Cabin
has a
Fever
different
is lit.
right. Shit from Cabin Fever, and even like
But Cushion Orange
his
Juice.
first word Cushion Orange Juice and his first couple albums is like, you know what I'm saying, and. Yeah, it's just like I said, he could make it entertaining because he got hits too, but it ain't gonna be better than Wayne shit.
Facts. And what do y'all think in general about now about verses? Like I was looking at some stuff, and I'm just feeling like, is verses really up there anymore? You think it kind of died down? Do you think
I feel like it did kind of die down after them boys sold it somewhat. After who was
Oh,
it?
okay.
Timberland and who else owned it? Swiss
Swiss
Beats.
Beats, right? Yeah.
After they sold it,
They sold it already? God
yeah, they've
damn.
been sold. It's been a good, I want to say almost a year since they sold it. It kind of died down. I think like when was that Dipset one? I think right after the Dipset one they sold it, or maybe that Dipset one was the last one.
Oh, the
Was it?
Dipset one was only like a couple months ago.
Yeah, that
Or
may
was
have
that
been after they sold it. So
Yeah.
like I don't know. I feel like it kind of
That's
died down. Like
crazy.
nobody like when was the
It
last
did.
verses? You feel me? Like I don't know.
I can't even tell you, but it did die down. But every time I feel like it's dying down, like they always pop back out with something that's like, you know what I'm saying, that's worth looking forward to. So who knows what could happen. But
Realistically,
yeah.
I'm thinking if I was like the owner of Versus or something, like I'd be knocking them out like probably like every month or so. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get
Yeah,
as
but I
more
mean, you got
content.
to have the artists agree to do it. It's probably getting to the point where they
Yeah.
stopped. They were approaching certain artists to do it, and they were just like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Or they're asking for way too much money to even come out there. So
That's probably because they was going for them heavy hitters. They probably got to go a
yeah,
little lower. You know what I'm saying? Get some.
but that's the weird thing. It's like if you like lower, like you said, is there you don't even really want to see a versus from niggas that's like,
That's
you know what I
true,
mean?
that's
Like
true.
nobody wants to see like Smoke Perp versus like, fucking Blueface or something like that, or like, you know what I mean?
Word.
And I feel like that's the only options they kind of have left to do certain ones, because all the big guys are kind of just over it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they even been kind of focusing more on the R&B side, I guess. I remember that last one was like Ray J and like
Yeah. Bow Wow.
Mario. Yeah, and like, yeah.
Bow Wow versus
Who he versed?
damn. Was it Soldier Boy? No, it wasn't.
I think it
Soulja Boy.
was.
It was Soldier Boy. It was
Bow Wow
Soldier Boy.
did go
Bow Wow
against
versus
Soulja
Soldier
Boy.
Boy. Yeah.
It was?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I remember
That
seeing
one was
that.
kind of entertaining. I'm not gonna lie.
Bow Wow, you say he was entertaining, right?
Both of them were entertaining.
yeah,
that whole
yeah.
versus was entertaining.
That's one
Oh.
I did like that one.
Got you. I didn't see that one. But yeah, like I think, it depends on their talent. As long as they can get more people that, artists that people mess with their hits, then I feel like they can stay afloat. But But yeah, we're gonna jump back into the media news in a little bit. Right now, let's talk about Russia and what Russia got going on with this nuke situation. So Russia recently, with what's going on with Ukraine, there's been a lot of back and forth recently. They had some sort of, from what I read, some sort of tunnel was bombed or something like that, using some sort of high-grade military technology, which obviously Ukraine has been able to afford this technology given the billions of dollars that has been given to them by Joe Biden. So, so my question to y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, we're not going to get too much into like the, specifics about what's going on, but more so our opinions on it. So this new nuke that they got is called this, I don't know, Saturn or Satan too. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Satan.
Yeah,
but
I think it's Satan too, but like I feel like he just fucking with people like, hey, I got this Satan 2 out here.
Satan boy. So the Satan 2 is being developed. Apparently, this is a very, very strong nuke. So my question to y'all, we're gonna start with Don. How much do you think, as far as this nuke itself, or what Russia plans to do in the future, do you think that Russia and Putin might start to see the U.S. as a little bit responsible, or, they're the ones who are basically sponsoring this this new Ukrainian warfare equipment? So how do you think Russia's going to take that?
Yeah, like I actually thought about it the other day, and I was like, yo, because like when you really think about like all the like wars and stuff like that the U.S. has been through, there's been a lot of shadiness that, you know what I'm saying, been going on. That's always going on when it comes to wars. You know what I'm saying? Like even when you go back to like us going to, I think it was either Iraq or Afghanistan. I forgot which one. We wasn't even like, the weapon, wherever we was looking for weapons of mass destruction, and we went over there, did whatever we did to everybody, and like there was no weapons of mass destruction anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't even have no weapons of mass destruction. So why was we there? So
I mean, technically, what is a weapon of mass destruction?
Yeah, exactly. So
a Draco, a fully loaded Draco can technically be a weapon of mass destruction if you know what I'm saying, use it the right way.
So there's always shadiness when it comes to war. Now, what I'm thinking with this situation here, the reason why America is funding them so much is because, all right, Ukraine's already fighting them. We don't really like Russia anyway. You know what I'm saying? We want this, that, and the other from Russia. How about we pay these niggas to just do whatever they do and, work them down a little bit and see what happens with that. That's where I'm thinking the goal is. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to,
but do you think Russia do you think Russia would be in the right to find, like, say Russia was to be like, fine, forget Ukraine, we go straight for US. Y'all the ones they wouldn't even have this stuff if it wasn't for y'all. Like, do you think they'd be in the right for that or no?
Would they be in the right? I mean, it wouldn't. Them starting a war with us because of that, it would make sense. I wouldn't say it's right. It would make sense for them to do it, but I don't think they would because of how powerful they believe the U.S. is. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they would attack the U.S. like that because of how powerful they are.
They wouldn't do it stupidly.
They're not going to do no stupid stuff like that. But they will do stuff like this, like try and threaten us with nukes and stuff.
Clay, what you think? You think an enemy that supplies your current enemy you're at war with, is that your enemy now? Well, they're already your enemy, obviously, but are you gonna?
I mean, not necessarily. At least to me,
that's how I'd be looking at it.
Word. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, to me, I'm just like, we kind of putting a battery in their back, even though we don't necessarily need to. But I mean, regardless, I don't know. That's very tricky. But I know most people, especially an arrogant person, is gonna look at it and feel like, hey, if you helping them, then you part of the situation too. But I don't know. I feel like our hands are still clean in a sense, because it's not like we have soldiers over there. You know what I mean? But who knows what's gonna happen? I just hope that Putin don't do nothing stupid.
But yeah, that's another thing I was gonna say too. Is like we giving Ukraine the money to fight, so our soldiers don't have to touch the ground over there. You know what I'm saying? They fighting our war in a way, but we kind of like disguising it. That's what I'm starting to feel like. Cause like, why are you giving them so much money, like back to back? Like, oh, here's $1 billion, here's $1 trillion, here this much. It almost don't even make no sense. You know what I mean? Like, damn, all that damn bread, bro. That's a lot.
That's why I said you could be onto something with that theory.
You feel me? So I don't know.
So what do you think about as far as Biden actually giving this money, do you think it's at the point where it's getting a little bit too much, or do you think that it's
Hell
understandable?
yes.
Yeah, them some big numbers,
He said,
boy.
"Oh, yes."
The
Yeah,
numbers
that's a
go
little bit.
crazy.
Yeah,
No
numbers are wild, man.
word. And every
These
time he
niggas,
do it, 2 weeks later, gas prices go through the roof. Like, and it's like every time, like literally, gas will start trickling down,
Mhm.
and then he'll give them bread, and then phew, back up in a week. And it was trickling down, and I know the gas price is looking better than they ever been. I know it's about to go crazy soon.
It went down to, I think it was like 279 over here, then it went back down. I just looked at the gas; it was like 308 just a while. I'm like, damn, that was a huge jump in like a
Well,
day or
well,
two.
yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah.
getting premium, so like the best I'm getting now. I just seen the gas station the other day that had premium for $3.55.
Yeah,
Surprisingly,
yeah, inflation in general is getting out of control. I guess because all the stuff that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
word. Arizona's $1.25 now, G.
yeah, shit's wild, bro. It's wild. But yeah. So we're gonna keep up with Russia and let's see what they do with Satan too.
Satan
Hopefully
too.
they point that shit far, far on the other side somewhere else. But
Crazy.
yeah, we're gonna keep up with it. Next, let's talk about what we got going on with Addidas and these Yeezys. So not much has been going on in the news of, I guess, the Kanye West thing. Seems like most of this stuff with him has calmed down just because he hasn't really been
Crazy enough, I see some. I didn't even double check on it, but I seen something where they said that his managers and such said
Yeah,
they
no, that's
haven't.
some bullshit.
That's
They
bullshit.
saw him, they
BS.
pictured him. Yeah, he was at
Alright,
some church in Los Angeles today.
all right. Because I seen it, I wanted to fact check it, but
Yeah, it was his ex managers and some other people were trying to like get in contact with him and they couldn't. But I'd imagine he doesn't want to fucking talk to them, which is why he not accepting their phone calls. So, which so people assumed that he was like missing or something like that. But no, they took photographs of him today, at church. But yeah, so it seems like the crazy stuff that was going on with like the Jewish stuff that has kind of calmed down, or as far as people like talking about it or whatever. So, which is, again, is what going to lead us to what we're talking about here, which is what we kind of knew was going to come, is this now kind of gray area with his ex business partners that have his product that they are now trying to sell, which it seems like it was supposed to be easier for Adidas because all they simply did was take the Yeezy symbol and logo off of the current, made pairs of Yeezys that they had to sell them, which obviously are not selling the way that they, had hoped. Gap obviously has a little bit harder because without them Yeezy logos on it, it's just Gap clothes, which no one wants. So I'd imagine they have an entire, factory full of things that I'd assume, which is why I kind of want to talk about is what do you think these companies are going to do? We're going to get into, a little bit more into about the specific Adidas situation and the stock they have that they can't get rid of. But what do you think these companies can or should do? Because what I'm thinking is or what I predict is going to happen once all this Kanye stuff really calms down, we're talking about by the summertime or even maybe next, winter this time. I feel like everybody's going to try to jump back in bed with him, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Because, for example, I feel like if Adidas and both Gap had just kept their mouth shut and just kept it moving and said nothing, I feel like things would have been back to normal by now, at least by this week or next week as far as sales and stuff, because nobody really has gone to banning official. People are still buying real Yeezy restocks on StockX and like Grailed and stuff like that.
Facts.
Goes. So it's like, if I feel like they're going to really take a hit with this, man, because Adidas not being able to use that logo no more is clearly a big hit for them. And then Gap, like I said, they have all this stock that they just can't even sell because their line is literally Yeezy. So, so starting with Don, what do you think, man? Like as far as what these businesses should do?
Damn, that is a good question. I don't know. The only thing that I would think they do is just take the hit. I don't know how much. That's a lot of money though. Like what they say, like 350 million or some crazy number like that.
I mean, the Adidas number they're saying is 530 million in Yeezy products that they can't sell. Yeah.
Dang. All right, I don't think they're gonna try and take that hit, boy. They're gonna have to. You probably gonna see where you see Adidas or whatever they're trying to sell in what you call it, them Ross and stuff like that. That's probably what's really gonna happen. You're gonna start seeing them in Ross and TJ Maxx and stuff like that, so they can get them off a little faster.
Which in general is gonna just mark the end of that whole Adidas Yeezy, era, because once they start popping up in like fucking like those what do you call them, like in Orlando, the
wholesale, not wholesale. outlets.
Like outlets and stuff like that.
Oh,
like
that's what you mean.
outlets and stuff.
Okay.
And once, like you said, they get into like TJ Maxx and Marshalls, people just in general are not going to be paying retail for them. So
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could see, other than like you said, if they double back and say, "Hey, Kanye, let's get these products off, bro." Which
because like, that's like
that'd be
who would
crazy.
really like say specifically this week? Like in my head, if they this week Adidas announced like, you know, we've decided to partner back with Kanye West so that we can re-release these Yeezys with the actual Yeezy logo on them and at full retail price. I don't think anybody would care, you know, because it seems like, which is why it's like so.
There'll be like, you know, on Twitter and stuff like that. There'll be a little uproar, and then maybe like after a few weeks, it'll die down. Just like you said, like it kind of died down now, and then after that, you know, you really just see what happens, like how the sales go. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
Clay,
even with stuff like with Kyrie, like
even that. I feel like
nobody
Nike is really gonna regret this with Kyrie. I don't know how much his sneakers were selling out, you know what I mean? But I know him as a brand was really good for Nike.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine they've got to be kicking him because it was like nothing. What was that to completely end this man's deal over? You know what I mean?
So
it wasn't worth it.
If they hollered in Kyrie back again, that would I wouldn't be surprised at that too. If they was like, "Hey, Kyrie, let's see what we can." You know what I'm saying?
Not that Nike nowhere needs Kyrie as much as Adidas needs Kanye West, but because obviously LeBron is the real head honcho as far as brands at or sub brands at Nike.
That's true.
So, but yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know, Clay. Do you have anything? What do you think as far as like Adidas, their situation is 530 million in shoes that they can't sell? What do you think would be?
Yeah, I seen that this was happening, and honestly, in my opinion, I feel like it's either gonna be something that they end up taking and kind of like using for another design, and I don't know if it's possible for them to like redesign or use the material to redesign for something else, or if they just gonna mess around and throw it into Marshalls. You know what I'm saying? And just throw it on there for clearance. You know what I'm saying? But who knows? But that is a shame to throw to have all that merch and not know what to do with it, because that's them missing out on money for sure.
Yeah. I feel like fashion brands, right now they definitely have like a disconnect between understanding what, like, why things sell and why things have the reputation that they do.
Right.
Because I mean, maybe it wasn't even plausible for them, or financially it didn't make sense. But I feel like they should have just, if they was going to cut ties, they should have just stopped all. Like you said, like get rid of the designs, not even release any kind of Yeezy looking shoe, just completely, because which I was again, this is why these companies shouldn't let, culture and stuff like that influence their business decisions, because that's literally both of these companies were smack dab in the middle of very big overhauls of these brands and getting out this material. And they now, because they just had to forfeit these contracts, they just stuck with the, that's definitely more of them taking L than Kanye West for sure, in my opinion.
But you know what it is though, that just like you said, there's a disconnect and they're desperate.
Yeah, financially, especially, definitely desperate. All right, so we're gonna keep up with the Adidas and the Yeezy situation and see what happens in the months to come. Last, before we get out of here, let's talk about probably the only real big piece of news, entertainment news that happened this week. Obviously, the Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez trial came to an end. There was a verdict. Now Tory was obviously found guilty on all 3 counts. He's just waiting to be sentenced. I think his sentence is like January 29th or something like that. Unfortunately, 27th, right? Unfortunately for him, he was incarcerated right before Christmas, so he obviously missed out having Christmas with his family and his son and all that. He's obviously going to miss New Year's, and he's not even going to be sentenced until the 27th. So obviously this verdict was quite surprising for a lot of people. A lot of people lost a lot of money, a lot of bets.
Who the hell bet on the trial, bro? That's so deep.
Young Jock bet.
He had to cut his hair. Yeah.
I saw someone bet money. I forgot who it was, but they lost. It was a rapper or something that bet money and lost.
Money on trials.
Yeah, crazy. But so before we even talk about like the verdict or whatever, what do you? So obviously we know the verdict was guilty, all 3 counts. He took the whole full Monty they gave him. They didn't let up on him at all, despite the lack of evidence, despite the known perjury on the stand. He still took the L. So starting with Clay, I'm gonna ask you first. What do you think the jury at first was very biased as far as women over men? I believe it was like out of 12, I believe it was like 8 women or something like that. But they changed it and it got down a little bit. So I believe in the end it was 6 women and 5 men. So Clay, do you think there was any bias there in the as far as the jury? I don't remember exactly what the jury vote was or if they even released it or said yet, but what do you think as far as that verdict?
Yeah, honestly, I don't. It's hard to say because I didn't necessarily pay attention to the trial as closely as I should have, to be honest. And just based on like what I hear, and even based on the information you tell me, and from the facts that I do get clarity on, it just seems like there's no clear cut, as far as what really happened. But then when you look at what he's actually being sentenced for, it's for the fact of just the fact that he had the gun. If I'm not mistaken, like they're all like misdemeanor and possession charges, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure.
I
If
think
honestly,
he
you can
got
look it up.
I think he got assault too, like for
Yeah.
like shooting her.
Assault with a deadly weapon type shit.
Yeah.
Because they saying he might do
wow,
20. He
okay.
could get up to 22 years. So
Yeah, no, I saw that too. But like, as far as him being, if they want to charge him for just having the gun, that's one thing. But yeah, if they did charge him for shooting her, then there obviously is room for an appeal, and they can try to see what's going on. But honestly, Tory Lanez is in a very sticky situation because he's not from the U.S., and I feel like the best he's gonna get, because off of the strength that he's a celebrity, I think he'll be able to get out, but he's gonna have to go back to Canada. I honestly
yeah, they're
think
saying
that's what's
that too.
gonna
They might
happen
just
to him.
deport him back to Canada. Yeah, I don't know. The point of court is or a trial is that you're supposed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, meaning that there should be no question that this person
Or,
who the accused or the defense is guilty in order for.
because I'm confused how they said his DNA wasn't found on the gun though, right? But even though it was his gun.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about that? Like, and just like I said with last episode with about the witnesses, they had this. First of all, I don't know why Tory Lanez didn't take the stand. He didn't take the stand at all.
I don't think he should have. I don't think he should have. A lot of people have been saying they should. I don't think it would have helped him, especially if this was the what, because clearly the jury in their time, the whole time in their minds, saw him as guilty.
You think
you think
that's why he didn't take it?
Stand and explaining anything. If they didn't, because think about this. Everyone basically was saying Meg is lying. Nobody was saying who shot exactly, whether they knew or not. But up until even Megan's own ex-stylist or hairstylist or whatever, everyone's basically saying this woman is a liar. She's not exactly telling the truth.
Yeah.
And the jury ignored all that. So I just don't think Tory sitting there and explaining things,
Right.
I don't think it would have changed anything.
Yeah, I mean, unless like I personally think that he didn't go take the stand because he didn't want to say that Kelsey shot Megan. Like I think that he didn't want to say that. You know what I'm saying? Because of the stigma and how it would look. That's one thing. Also, just like I said the last episode when it comes to witnesses, I think there was one witness that it was just one. We took one witness to say, yeah, I seen him with the gun and he shot the gun. You know what I'm saying? And there was a flash and this, that, and the other. And I feel like they rolled with that.
That's what I'm saying. That's one witness against every.
Yeah.
If 3-4 of the people's stories contradict one witness, that witness is not credible. And then, and that's why we're going to talk about the appeal going forward. But I feel like he might get the appeal.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Yeah.
Nah,
because
win that appeal.
This trial does not make sense. If everyone took that stand and said, yeah, Meg is right, Tory's this, Tory's that, this is what happened, they basically disproved everything she said as the story is how it went. So how would a jury, unless it was biased just because she was a woman and a victim, how could they listen to all that evidence and see those testimonies and be like, oh yeah, guilty on all 3 counts for Tory? Like,
Yeah.
A forensic person blatantly said my DNA not on the gun. Both me and Kelsey had gun residue on us. How do I get stuck with this?
At first, when it all happened, I was like, "Damn, Tory definitely shot him." After hearing all those details in the case, I was like, "Yo, bro, might not have shot her, bro."
From what it looked like, they paid attention to when I guess Kelsey must have sent the text message to somebody about the situation that happened, but she texted Tory just shot Meg 911. But like that could have been a lie. It was just a text message. You know what I'm saying? Like she could have did it and then sent that text to try to avoid the situation.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They were all obviously intoxicated. Because even as like,
right,
if this is my thing, right? Okay, boom, it might even be proven fact that it is Tory's gun. He shouldn't have the gun, whatever. If we're talking about someone taking sole responsibility and only one person doing time for this, the only way that's fair is if the gun was on Tory's person, he took it out his, you know what I'm saying, he brandished the gun and he shot. Then I can understand. But if it was any kind of situation where there was a struggle or someone else had their hand on the gun or someone took the gun out of Tory's hand and he was trying to snatch it back from them and it went off, I don't think he should go do time for that, bro. Yeah, because I think what I think hurt Tory is him and his defense obviously not wanting him to say out loud, yes, it was my gun, and yes, it may have went off accidentally. They instead were trying to do the whole, no, Tory didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like Tory did it, which I don't think, because someone shot this woman at the end of the day. Yeah. She got shot. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if they had at least went with the direction of like, look, we're sorry, it was an accident. We were in the back with the gun playing around with it, because it happens. People have died from being around people playing with a gun. And sure.
And I know y'all say it wouldn't make sense for him to take the stand, but I feel like that really actually hurt him not taking the stand, bro. Because if he had took the stand, like, you know, they were going to grill him, they're going to question him, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that whole case, you were hearing everybody's side of the story, really, besides Tory's, you know what I'm saying?
So it's very rare that the accused, that if you're the person who's supposed to be with the gun in your hand, that you're going to take the stand because you're already the villain. And the villain, the point, like the jury does not, the defense is not going to want the jury to speak to the villain or hear the villain talk. You know what I'm saying? Because all he could have explained up there is, I didn't do it, which leaves the question, who did it? And if the prosecutors, Meg's team would have asked him that, well, Tory, if you didn't shoot, who did? And if he did not have an answer or someone to point at, that just makes it look like it must be you. And I think that truly is why they didn't make him do it.
Exactly. And that furthers my thing. That's why I believe that, you know, they even asked, I think, Kelsey, who's paying for your lawyer or something like that.
Yeah,
it was Tory. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Tory somehow was trying to defend Kelsey, bro. And he did some.
But EJ, that's what I'm saying. Look at that, him trying to defend. That does not look
what up,
good.
Chat? What up, y'all in the chat?
Yeah.
So you said that doesn't look good. Yeah, no, that doesn't look good. You're right.
Because all that, because when they found out that he was paying for Kelsey's lawyers, that, not saying that's what it is, but how that looks is like you're paying to make sure Kelsey's defense says a very specific thing or goes to a specific net. And that too is why it's like, don't put him on the stand, because these are all questions that Meg's team can ask and will obviously would have asked. Why are you paying for this girl's lawyers? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's why I believe he didn't take the stand, because he ain't want to point at Kelsey. They had I feel like they had some kind of agreement, kind of weird agreement, bro, where like, okay, we gonna both get our defense straight, and we both gonna get off on this, like, which still don't make sense because somebody did shoot Megan. I think they was just trying to use some loopholes and just get off, like, get the case over with, maybe a hung jury, maybe something like that. You know what I mean? And it didn't work out in Tory's case, but I feel like he could definitely appeal it, bro, because that case got way too many miss points. Like, we
got holes, way too many holes,
way too many holes.
And that's what I don't in the US or in any country in general, but we'll talk about the US obviously. I don't think it's fair if I'm accused, and again, you cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt that I did this, I should not go do no time for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all don't have no proof. And if you don't have proof and you don't have evidence, it's hearsay. It's he say, she say. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? There's no proof of it. And nobody, whether you did it or not, I don't think should go to prison over hearsay. Because the whole point.
That's definitely what that case is about. Like, he says, she said. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's for sure.
The only place that hearsay should involve some kind of punishment is in school, like high school, middle school, you know what I'm saying? But you're talking about somebody going to prison. You know what I mean?
for 20 something years, like
20
possibly.
something years, which hopefully, like Clay said, I don't think they're gonna throw the whole 20 at him. But if he even got to do 10 for this, that's
Maybe
a
he
chunk
don't.
of
Maybe he don't get that crazy amount of time. Maybe
maybe.
they like, all right, you guilty. We're gonna give you a guilty charge, but the sentence gonna be light. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna give you a light sentence, but a guilty charge. That may be what it's looking like. So, you know, maybe his lawyer knows like what it's gonna look like. Okay, you don't take the stand. If they're guilty, maybe you get like maybe they give you a slap on the wrist. You get about a year and a couple months probation, couple years probation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that might be what it's looking like if I'm guessing correctly.
Right. And so as far as the trial itself, like, you know, we talked about, like we both agree, you guys agree that more than likely his lawyer stated he will go for an appeal or whatever else can be done. I'd assume he would get the appeal or at least some sort of retrial. What do you think this whole trial obviously is said and done now as far as Meg's part? What do you think or what effect this is going to have on her career and her legacy in general? Because here's the thing. I feel like with Meg, while she was, I don't even want to go as far as to say that she's made a permanent position as a superstar. I'd say she was the superstar of 2019 to 2022, 2020, 2022. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, which is what the point I'm getting to, I feel like this whole trial has become her whole thing. Like, whether she wanted it to go that way or not, which is why I think she should have just took the G code, wrapped up that bullet wound and kept it pushing. But this trial has now become her thing. In the past, I'd go as far as say even year. Has she had a hit single that everyone was like, "Oh, this is Meg's hit"? Has she?
I can't.
It's been a while.
I have been seeing her a lot. Like
you've been seeing her,
yeah, but
for what she's supposed to be respected for, she's not being respected for right now.
Facts.
that's for sure.
People only see her when she's twerking on the ground. You know the vibes.
And other than that, it's everything wrapped up with this trial. I feel like that is going to be is going to do a big damage to her career, because especially now that this thing is done. What's going to be so interesting about Meg Thee Stallion? She's going to go back to making the same mediocre music she was making before, which is already why her shit was on a decline. And at most now she can probably speak about the incident and rap about it and get some type of clout off of that. But how long is that going to be afloat? Because I don't even think that's going to work long for Tory. So,
well, you know, we probably got to, I mean, just think into like, you know what I'm saying? If she like kind of put a sour taste in a couple of the people, because like you said, the people who, like her stylist even said, like how she's a liar, this, that, and the other, you know what I'm saying? I think she put a sour taste in Kylie Jenner's mouth, you know what I mean? You know, a lot of people, if she, you know, turning a lot of these people's heads from her that's in the industry, is definitely not gonna look good for her, you know what I'm saying? Like, people gonna be like, oh, this don't work with her because of this, don't work with her because of that.
Yes, it becomes a problem.
Yeah, that in regards to that may be the most damage to her career, if anything. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
And she's made herself way less marketable. You get what I'm saying? Because even as far as like promotion with other, like you said, most celebrities or whatever is probably not gonna want to hang out with her too publicly to a certain extent, or have, because say for even right now, Meg goes and has another party night. It doesn't look good on her. It's like, why would you go do this again when you just, you know what I'm saying? Like she kind of cut off that entire side of her now. Like, okay, kind of like when Chris, although this worked out better for them, when Chris Brown and Rihanna got into their situation, it kind of cut off the whole goody two shoes image for both of them. You know what I'm saying? They both had to just go to, all right, rated R, we straight up, you know what I'm saying? Like, cursing, sexuality, because it's like once you're looked at in a certain way, you can't do nothing in that way no more. It's just like with Gunna. It's going to be very weird for most of us to hear Gunna hop on a new song and talk about the gang slime life and say that he not, you know.
Yeah. I'm skipping it.
Even recently.
I took Cuz off my playlist.
Bro, I can't Cuz no more. And it sounds weird, but it's like every time when I'm trying to listen to this nigga's music now, it's like, dog, it's just it don't hit the same, bro. It's not genuine. And I think Meg is about to face that same problem, bro. That same problem. Yep.
Possibly. I can see it.
Yeah,
I can see it too.
For sure. So definitely, bro, we're gonna keep up with that. Hope to see Tory. Like I said, man, I just don't think this is something the guy should be locked up for 22 years for. you got people doing 25 for murder. So
Yeah.
for him to do 22, if he gets that for allegedly shooting this young lady, I think that's a little bit extreme. But you know, you gotta watch out, man. You gotta watch out, especially when you these people and you got millions of fans, millions of dollars, and you know, people count on you. So I got nothing else. Shout out to everybody else that was in the chat. Don, Clay, I don't know if y'all got anything that y'all want to say to wrap it up, but I'm good for the night.
Pretty much. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
I wanted to say we didn't get a chance to talk too much about it. We don't have to, but today Joseph Marley, Stephen Marley's son, was found unresponsive and he had passed away. So definitely R.I.P. and much condolences to the Marley family for sure.
Oh, yeah, facts. I seen that. Yeah, definitely R.I.P. to that. So that's big.
Yeah, I think he was like only 31. Yeah. He was young.
He was 31. Yeah.
But yeah, he's a grandson. He said like he had asthma complications or something like that. So, yeah. So, RP to him. Like Clay said, you know, thoughts and prayers to the Marley family for sure.
Facts. And shout out to everybody that's been in the chat. Shout out to everybody. Like everybody in the chat, make sure you go to Instagram, follow the Instagram page, like the post.
Yeah. Wow, we've been going up lately with them posts on the P.
Sure. And we're gonna start being a little bit more on hands with the TikTok as well. So
follow the TikTok.
Follow us on TikTok as well.
Follow all that. So appreciate all y'all. Good show, man.
Everybody, peace out.